Welcome to the start with one ICG. Some slides, as always. Just for you, the information, where are we? So with me is Raphael Krappen. He's the pre-sales engineer in Austria. And my name is Jetschmanegg. I'm the pre-sales engineer in Switzerland. Mail address with the things you need to know. So the content today will be the ICG, what it's all about. The history, so where we are coming from, where we want to install it, what's the architecture behind, what do you need from a licensing side, from a hardware side. Some information's important links. Also, what is the goal? Of course, the goal is obviously, but what we want to show you in the demo. We'll show you what we have prepared for the demo scenario. We will slightly talk about IGEL Advanced Services and what their part is in the game. And of course, the big one is a live demo. So for the history, you know that IGEL is there for a long, long time. And we offer our solution in a company where you have the UMS server, where you have our UD thin clients, which are no longer thin. So we just call them endpoints or devices. This was the beginning. So then we extended it that with our UDC, or what we call today OSC, the OS creator, we were able to convert third-party vendor hardware, which is some desktop, laptops, whatever, even other thin client of other vendors. And so this was just in the company. But of course, the internet home office is there for a long time. And we said, okay, we want to work from home. And we also want to extend the main points of the IGEL solution, which are secure, simple, smart, and also including a home office. Via the internet, and because of this scenario, the idea of the ICG was born. So that's the back behind. Where should the ICG be installed? So two possibilities. At the end, it's somehow the same. It has to be installed in a special network zone, which you normally call perimeter network or the DMZ, the demilitarized zone, or in the cloud, means on someone else's computer. We support all cloud vendors, of course, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, or wherever. These are the big three players.
Udo, I have a question about that. Can I install the ICG also in the company network directly?
Okay, so you mean in the LAN, not in a perimeter network?
Yeah.
So technical, yes, of course, but that wouldn't make any sense regarding the security, because of course the UMS has to talk to the endpoints. This is done within the local area network with the well-known ports. But if you go to the internet, you somehow have to face the UMS with the internet, which brings in security risks. So this is why we put the ICG in the special network zone and open, we will see it later, just one port for communication. But a good question, very good. We hear that sometimes, so good point. A slight overview of the architecture with the IGEL Cloud Gateway. The right part, I think you're already familiar with. It's the company LAN. You have the UMS server, the database, the console to administer, and all the IGEL client, or the IGELized client, as I call it, when you convert it. On the left part, on the left side, you see the cloud. If it's your DM set or your cloud, doesn't matter. Therein, you install the IGEL Cloud Gateway, and we are TCP 8443, which is the one and only port we need. You can communicate and administer and handle the clients, the IGEL clients outside of your company LAN. So really easy, firewall friendly. I think all the firewall guys are happy with just one port. It's possible to adjust it if you don't like the 8443 or it's already taken. So we are flexible for that. but that's the whole architecture. Not that much new. Just a hint, because I got these questions quite a few times. ICG does not replace access gateways, which are like Citrix, NetScaler, F5, or whatever appliances are available outside. It's a way to handle and administer the endpoints. You still need your, let's take the Citrix NetScaler to connect to your virtualized environment, to Horizon, to virtual apps, whatever. So this is still needed. It's not a replace, because often people say, so I can get rid of my NetScaler. No, that's not.
When a customer needs a VPN client, what happens then?
So when he has a VPN client on the IGEL endpoint, of course, when the VPN is started, he's in the local area network. So then there's a direct connection from the endpoint to the UMS. So in this scenario, you don't need the ICG because the endpoint is in the LAN. But of course, you can only handle the endpoint if the VPN is active and started. So before the user on the endpoint starts the VPN, you cannot handle the device. So a reboot, a shadowing, a firmware upgrade, or whatever, it's not possible. No. And so if there are some problems, perhaps to set up the VPN or to establish the connection, you cannot help. No. The prerequisites for ICG, we have some. Of course, it has to be a Linux host. I say it, of course, because we are Linux guys, but not that much really high requirements regarding the RAM and CPUs. The free disk space, of course, it depends on the number of devices to be managed. We have some numbers because, of course, we have already worldwide some installations of ICG, which covers 4- and 5-digit number of endpoints via ICG. The operating systems are, as you see, Linux only and 64-bit only. So no Windows and no 32-bit. But as you see, there are various distributions you can use. So I think everyone should find his favorite solution.
Is there a plan for bring out a Windows Server support?
So to install it on a Windows server?
Yeah.
No, actually not. And I don't think this will ever happen because we went for the Linux as we, in the past you also got IGEL UD with Windows, but normally we prefer the IGEL OS, which is based on Linux, on an Ubuntu kernel, which offers way more security. And of course, putting a machine in a DM set with Windows, it's not normally what you like or the security guys don't like. So no, just Linux only. Of course, you need the two last points, the UMS. 506.100 or higher is required as a basic, but with ICG 2.0, we offered secure shadowing. This was not available in the version 1.0. So if you want to use this, you have to use UMS 602.110 at least or higher. So the latest one is 604.110. And of course, the devices, the IGEL OS has to be 10.02.100. And again, if you use the newer features, you have to have at least 11.02.100. And for guys which are a little longer with ICG with us, in the past, we offered a so-called ICG appliance, which were available for download on our site. We stopped updating it for a long time, and we are no longer providing it. Why do we do this, or why did we stop? It was about the support and also to keep the appliance up to date. It was running on one Linux distribution, so I don't remember which one it was. and it was just like a box. You download it, import it in your virtual environment, and of course you still had to install the ICG, because this nowadays can be done remotely from the UMS, which we will see later. So we just wanted to keep it easy for your side, because if you prefer the Red Hat or this distribution, just go for that. I will show you later when we do the installation, the knowledge base article we have regarding setup an Ubuntu server, a Linux machine for ICG installation. Coming to the license, a very important point, always licensing. Of course, IGEL OS 11 is the latest and greatest operating system we offer from IGEL, but still customers are running OS 10 a lot, because you don't have to migrate to OS 11. As always, when IGEL sets an OS end of life, we give out 3 years firmware upgrades regarding security and clients, so regarding the Citrix, Horizon, and so on. So the client is not urged to migrate. To the product itself, the OS 10, starting from that point, is licensed by the IGEL Cloud Gateway 10 connection license, which includes only ICG. So this was a package of 10 license which you had to buy. And as you see in the picture down, it was in the license part under UMS licenses. You had the IGEL Cloud Gateway, available licenses. So you see the type of license is a UMS license. You had to download the file, import it in the UMS, and then when a client connects via the ICG, he got a license. Nowadays, with IGEL OS 11, one point was also that we sum up all the extensions we license separately in just one pack, which we call the Enterprise Management Pack. That includes the ICG, but also includes software as shared workspace a license. So if you have multiple users using one IGEL, perhaps shift workers or something like that. IAT is the asset inventory tracker. If you want to have more information about what is attached via USB at the endpoint. And the UMA is the Unified Management Agent, which is a little software which you install on Windows endpoints. So if you have all IGEL, but you still need some Windows, you can install the software there, and you can manage the Windows clients from within the UMS. And you can also send out profiles, configurations. For the ICG, SWP, IIT, you have to buy one license per device. So if you, let's say you're a customer with 100 IGEL, you have the IGEL Workspace Edition, and 10 of these are connecting via ICG. So you have to have 10 ICG licenses. This differs from the UMA. For the UMA, you only have to buy one EMP license, and then you can install it on as many Windows devices as you like. But this is just a sign point. It's not that matter topic today. But you see, this type of license is a client license. So you buy it, and it's attached to the license, as you see it in the picture down left. This is under the license in deployment, where all the packages which are registered in the license portal reflect here. Now, of course, you will perhaps ask, okay, what is possible? So if there is a mixed environment, of course, if you have IGEL OS 10 clients, they are not working with EMP. You need the ICG-C connection license, let's say. And if you have clients with OS 11, the old, let's say, ICG license are not working. You need the EMP.
So can I mix? I have both inside of my UMS, V10 and V11. Can I manage them with the same ICG?
Yes, that's possible. Of course, when you are, let's say you're coming from OS 10 and you're doing a migration, so you don't have to migrate all at one moment, or you keep the old and the new one come with OS 11. So just, as the pictures show, import the ICG license into the UMS and EMP on the deployment, and they're running side by side. That's not a problem. Some information or important links. As always, I hope you know all the kb.igel.com, where you find all our knowledge about the products. So we have it for the ICG, UMS, the Workspace Edition, and also because we renewed our website a few weeks ago, some links changed. So under software downloads, you find the download portal where you can download the ICG, the UMS, and also go for test licenses. All the test licenses include the EMP license, valid for 3 months, and you can you get it for 3 devices. So you can test up to 3 devices for 3 months, including the EMP. Last but not least, I really love the step-by-step guide from the IGEL community. When I joined IGEL in November 18, 1 month before I started preparing myself to somehow onboarding myself, and I went through the whole step-by-step guide, which really is worked. So with all the stuff is in, and we will update it soon. Regarding the ICG, we thought about to extract the ICG part and make it as a standalone. And also, in the current step-by-step guide, there is an explanation for the AWS installation, and the new one will at least include the Azure, but I think we are talking about this to also include the Google Cloud and make it just more as a standalone version. So what is the goal of our webinar? The main thing which you should hopefully take out of today is to show you how easy it is to set up the ICG, to install it, to import the client. So this is not, if you're familiar with the IGEL solution, you know how easy it is to roll out a new endpoint or to replace it. And of course, we don't want to make it more complex when going outside of the company network. Our demo scenario, just to give you a hint on this, we have a UMS running on my MacBook. So I have a VirtualBox installed with some VM on it. So one is the UMS. We will install the ICG on Azure VM. So we have prepared the Azure VM with Ubuntu and configured it. So we will do the installation. The part 2 of this webinar will show how to install the VM itself and configure it. And of course, we have some endpoints. This is also a virtual machine today. And we will start it up and import it via the ICG to the UMS. This is just to sum up again. When we imported it into the UMS, we will assign it with some profiles to see how the configuration is working also via the IGEL Cloud Gateway. Before we start really the live demo, I want to bring in or introduce you to IGEL Advanced Services. This is the post-sales organization we introduced a few months ago. And because a lot of people, a lot of companies need some on-site help, some deeper help, we offer them IGEL Business Continuity Accelerator Standard. So we are assisting organizations for the work from home initiative. To support them, we stating some points which are included, not all. And so if you are interested or need some help, just contact Raphael, me, or your local pre-sales or sales rep. They will guide you in the right direction. Just one additional, of course, because of the current situation, it's a remote only at the moment. As you know, the solution, you know that it's not that hard if we support you remotely. Of course, it's nice to see the other face if it's a new customer, but for the moment, it's like that. After this webinar and in a follow-up email, we will send you this PDF, which is a 4-page PDF, which just sums up and summarizes some points shown in this presentation here, just in a nicer way. So we will also make this available for download in the community. Okay, enough slides. I will just stop the presentation here and go over to the demo. So there was some chat. Oh, that's me. Okay, that's fine. So just prepare myself here. So this is the UMS installed on my machine. Here is the Azure portal where I installed and configured a virtual machine, which is Linux Ubuntu 18.04. I configured a DNS name, a public address, which is static. And what we also prepared, what you need, which we will cover indeed in the second part, is some prerequisites to for the installation. So first, of course, we have to use a certificate. The traffic is encrypted between the endpoint and the UMS, so you need a certificate. For this case, I'm using a self-signed, which the UMS created, but of course you can also use your own, let's say, issued by GoDaddy, SwissSign, or any worldwide organization. A second thing I prepared are the first authentication keys. You will see later what that means. This is just another point to raise the security, that not everyone can just import an IGEL client into your environment. In IGEL Cloud Gateway, you see I already installed one ICG, which I'm using locally in my environment, but we will install a new one. So we will click on here. So now you see the certificates, which you imported one step before. So I will just go for the certificate I'm using with the ICG on Azure. Then, of course, the EULA, which you have to read, accept, and understand, most important. And then we need the install parameters. So the SSH host is the IP address, which you see here from the public IP address, or when you're installing it in your DM set, you have something like, I don't know, 172 or something. The SSH port is one of the ports you have to open from the LAN to the ICG, because we use SSH 22 port for the installation. You also, of course, you have to create a user which has SSH rights, and I hope I don't have a typo, of course, a password. So the installation path will be pre-filled, also the ICG port. So we use the standard installation path here, and the path to installer is just, so you have to download the binary, which is the installer 2.100.bin. Just download it somewhere to your local machine where you're installing the ICG from. And with these parameters, it's contacting the IGEL Cloud Gateway, so the Azure VM, the Ubuntu VM on Azure. You see a timer running down left. So now perhaps the question comes up, okay, how many times it will take for installation? So I have everything from 30 seconds to today, 5 minutes. I say today because when I prepared the presentation, it took me twice 5 minutes. So I think this is because of my internet here in the home office. And of course, you know, Azure also depends on the usage during the day. So when there is an error, normally regarding authentication, so you have a typo in the SSA user keyword, password or something, this comes up in the normally first 10 to 20 seconds.
How long do you think you will need for the whole installation SSG on external server?
So if you have all the things prepared, so sometimes the certificates are a topic to discuss because sometimes these are done by other guys than the IGEL or the network guys. But if everything is prepared and when I install it locally on my DM set, everything is done within 10 minutes. It's not really that long to go. And I think it will go for 3 minutes as well today to time. We wanted to fill up and show you when you install the virtual machine for Linux in your own environment. You go to our kb.igel.com and you can search for Linux machine. And there you'll find the second one, preparing the Linux machine, which will just show you, as an example, the Ubuntu server 1804, what you have to do, with some hints. So don't take ICG as a username because this will mix it up somehow. Of course, static IP address has to be set, but you can use it, set it via NetPlan, or as in my case, I'm using pfSense as a router here. So I have a DHCP fixed IP address, and down the side, there is also installing Python. So what I saw when you're using 1804 for Ubuntu server, Python is already installed with the correct version. So you're just getting the answer, it's already installed. So nothing to do here, but of course, just do the installation like this so that you're sure it's everything is there, what you need. So let's see what it's like. It's still running here. Regarding the ICG, of course, it's 2 GB. I said you get errors when you're starting it under 2 GB. And when you go for the Ubuntu server, there's one question coming up during the installation phase, which says, should OpenSSH server be installed? Please go for yes, because as I said, SSH is the way we install the ICG software onto the machine. Of course, if you say no at that point, you can reinstall it later, but just makes it easier if you say yes. And within Ubuntu, the user you create during installation is automatically added to the SSH user group. So you don't have to adjust the rights there. Okay, I think we're coming to the 3 minutes.
More than 4.
Excuse me? 5 minutes, excuse me. I said 3, right? It's 300 seconds around. Yeah, that's right.
This time we can, David King, send us a chat message. Perhaps we can talk about this. We are still using our old OVR-based ICG box from the first 1.x days. We aren't having any issues with it. But do you foresee any issues?
So I had once a customer which started with, at that time, with the appliance and updated it. He had an issue, and then said, okay, just let it rebuild from scratch. But I have others, me included, which I started with 103, I updated to 104, 104, 110, and then to 2.0, and it was working fine. This is perhaps also a good point. So if you have troubling updating your ICG, you can always install a new one, as long as you keep the IP address, the server name, and of course the certificate's the same. Yeah, then you don't have any problems. You don't need to re-register your endpoints, which I will show you later what that means. Okay, 312, new record, but successfully installed. That's what we want. So the next point, so now we used port 22 for the installation. This is a port you normally can also close after the installation. You only need it for updating or install it new. The display name, I will just will write it, or will change it to ICG on Azure. So the host, I will use internally the IP address, and regarding external, I will go for the DNS name, because this will be the URL which has to be entered on the endpoint side. The port is the same. So now when I click on next, we can go for proxy server settings. If you have a proxy server in your environment, you can select or name it. We don't have, so I click on finish. Now the UMS is communicating over 8443 with the UMS and with the ICG. So just to give you one shot, so in here, port 22 is normally configured by default when you install the Ubuntu, and I just added one rule. Now I call it port 8443 in. So it's 8443 TCP, any source, any destination, that's everything. I didn't adjust or edit anything on the outbound. So it worked well, because now we see here our second ICG. It's ICG on Azure. We see the host port, the host external, the external port. So when you click on the ICG, you see the informations. You see where it's installed, some information. You also see the version, the operating system. And of course, when clients are connecting, you have some history of the request here. So you see, yeah, it's working. So that's all regarding the ICG installation. So as I said, normally it does not take 5 minutes just for the installation, perhaps 1 or 2 minutes, and preparation done. So ICG is installed. The next part we're going to do is that we want to connect an endpoint. So for that, I will just start up a virtual machine where OS 11 is running on. I did a factory reset of this machine after I tested it, so it will come up with the first boot wizard, as you know. So now I'm, let's say, working from home. This is also in my home office network, not in the virtual box network here. It's really my bridged wireless adapter. So I'm going for next. I will show, because I'm like this, German Switzerland, like this one. I go for Europe and Zurich, and go for the date. That's fine. So click on apply and next. I keep the license I have. So when you are resetting a client with IGEL OS 11, the reset to factory default will not delete the license already installed. So when you have the first boot wizard again, you will see something like this. If it's really a new one, you have a third option, which say install demo license, or getting a demo license, where you have to fill in your name and stuff, and a demo license is directly fetched to the device. So now this is the point where is new somehow. In the past, perhaps you normally said, oh, skip it. But today we want to use this. So just shut up. So this should be. So this is the DNS name of my Azure VM. And when I type it in, it's talking to the Azure VM. And I told you that today I'm using a self-signed certificate. A self-signed certificate you can always install and create in the UMS. But of course, the root certificate is not known at the endpoint. We have over 100 root certificates installed in our IGEL OS. So if you're using like SwissSign or whatever, this one part you don't have to fill in. But today we have to, because this is not known on the endpoint side, and you see the fingerprint here. So this is where I have to go for some typing today. So it's the third. So every time it could be something else. So you see, this is not the user experience you want to offer. So this is why we normally recommend to use official certificates, and this we will cover in the next webinar. So just typing here. So the next two fields, I told you that I set up some first authentication keys here. Because I set that up, I have to type in this one-time password. If I don't do this and someone else knows, okay, the customer has this address, he has a public root certificate, then he can just enter, and yeah, the client is imported in your UMS. So this makes it more secure for your environment. If you create a first-time authentication key, there are actually 3 ways. So you can create a one-time key, or you can create a one-time key associated with a device, so that every device has its own one-time password. Or you can create a mass deployment key, which I'm using here. So you type in something, and this has to be entered on the client side when he wants to enter or to import the endpoint to the UMS. The UMS structure, it's always there. That's like if you provide a default directory rule in the UMS. I didn't configure it for the structure tag, but perhaps you can say, okay, I'm losing like this. So with this structure tag, perhaps you give the UMS information, this is an endpoint which used a Swiss German keyboard. So I put in that and that directory structure, and so that it fits in the correct place. For our demo today, that's all what we have to enter. So I click on login. Now it communicates with the ICG to the UMS. So, okay, that's fine. So I click on next. Almost finished. I have to finish. So you see this message here. The device is being registered at the UMS. So now they are talking together with each other. And it takes some time. Yeah, system got new configuration. Apply the changes now. Yes, we do. So there will be a reconfiguration. You notice also when you import clients into the UMS directly in your LAN. And then you see this new little small icon here. So it's the cloud with 3 dots. As long as the 3 dots are seen, you see it's establishing the connection. If this is working fine, it says this one is connected to the UMS, and you just see this cloud. So it just gives you a status connected. If it's not connected, it is strike through, but you cannot click on it, no write context menu or whatever. But now, because it's in the UMS, we will just refresh the UMS and see, there is a new device under ICG devices. And it's green. That's wonderful. And you also see that compared to the other devices you normally have, there is a little cloud next to the icon. So every client which is registered via an ICG gets this small icon. So you see if this is an endpoint coming over ICG or not. Also, you have one attribute, IGEL Cloud Gateway, in the advanced system information, where you see from which ICG it is connected. Because you saw that you can install multiple ICGs. So let's say perhaps you are a service provider, offer your service to multiple customers, and every customer wants to have his own ICG, perhaps with her own URL, customer A dot something or whatever. So that's possible. Of course, one ICG can only be attached to one UMS. It cannot be attached to multiple. So this is how you see when a client is connected via ICG on the icon, and also here you have it in the value field. Now, because it's working, I will just do a reboot to see, yeah, it will work. And you see this is working. Yeah, we will do a reboot because you recognize that the device was already put into ICG devices and not just under devices. And when you know IGEL, you see that this icon states that there is a default directory rule attached to this directory. And when we want to have a look what's behind the default directory rule, I said, okay, if a device is registered via ICG, then put it in device, this ICG devices. So this is why this new device is immediately put into this directory. And so because it's in this directory and we all have, or we already have assigned some profiles, some configuration regarding firmware customization, start menu, and so on, it will get the update. And you see it, so every time it's coming up, it's also saying, yes, connection is successful with ICG. So you see I put some profiles regarding the background, start menu, start button, also remove the system tab, the setup, and the boot splash we will see perhaps later. And yeah, so that's it. So we imported the client. That's somehow so fast. I just, yeah. He got the configuration. So even with the icon, with the correct icon, and then of course you can just, oh, this one is missing here with the, okay, yeah, that I didn't test before. I just edited about an hour before we went for the demo. But you get the point. So now we imported it. He got the configuration, and you know what? Perhaps someone was at Disrupt with Raphael me in our slot there. We clicked on Shadow and we clicked on Connect, and after a few seconds we got an error message, but not today. So this is secure shadowing working. So this is working via 8443. So it's directed via the ICG. So it's not like ICG is doing a brokering and then there's a direct connection between the endpoint and the UMS. No, it's via the ICG all the time. We had to do some changes in the software. This is why we are offering secure shadowing only starting from 2.0 with ICG and also with the UMS and the firmware of the IGEL. Yes. I think that's what we wanted to show, Raphael, right?
Broad version of everything. You see, it's very fast, solid, not so difficult. Depends on the customer side, that's true, but easy way and testing and do it on your own notebook also, like we do it at the demo.
Right. Right. Okay.
Okay, so I will, at this moment, I will stop the recording.
Mm-hmm.